Hello and welcome everybody to our live stream today. Today we are focused on the 25.1 release highlights, and we are excited to have you here, whether you are new or maybe you've been a long time participant in these, but we're very excited that you're here. My name is Kate Bonifaz, and I am a product evangelist here at Appian, and I'm excited to go over again the release highlights. Hopefully last week you were able to attend one of our webinars, which we will link into the chat here for you, again, if you haven't watched it yet. Also, be on the lookout for our docs coming soon so that you can see all of the details of this newest release. Great. So our agenda today is going to be broken into three main portions. We're going to have a portion on data fabric architecture, and then it will spill into some AI kind of stuff, some architecture, some highlights, some new things, some great things. And then I'm going to go into specifically highlights that I think you guys are super interested in, appreciative of, or just are interesting to me, right? And in order to do that, I am super excited to introduce to you our guests for today. So welcome on, Ram and Kevin. Hey guys.
Hello.
Great. So let's start off with some introductions. So, I'd introduce myself. I'm Kate Bonifaz. I'm a product evangelist at Appian. I've been developing for over 3 years now, and I'm officially lead certified recently, which is exciting. Thank you. Yeah. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Give us a little context on your background at Appian and anything else. So I'll start off with Kevin.
Sure. Thanks, Kate. I'm Kevin Gajewski. I'm the product lead for our data capabilities in the platform. I've been at Appian for kind of well over a decade, working on an application design experience, sort of the entire platform, most of that time in our engineering department. And I'm really excited today to talk about, I'm biased, but some of the data fabric updates, of course.
Cool. So Ram, let's go over to you now.
Yeah. Hey, hi all. So this is Sriram here, and I'm working as an architect for Excel. I'm based out of Canada. So coming to my Appian journey, right? I'm in this Appian ecospace since 2011. So it's more than 14th year, I would say, in Appian, right? So I always say, normally Appian is like a baby for me, right? See, I have seen it growing all the way, from version 6.6, where when we want to submit a form, when you want to submit a dynamic drop down form, right, have to submit a form, reload the page, come back till the latest features where you could just build a form on just a click of a button, right? So yeah, I always wonder how Appian embraces the latest technology, right? And I'm happy to be part here with Excel, and pretty excited to do the hands-on on 25.1 latest features to see how we could help our business grow.
Yeah, we love to hear that. And for all of you out there, it is a conversation mainly between Kevin and Saram and myself, but we want to hear from you. We want all of your questions. Again, these two, you heard them, over a decade of experience in Appian each, and very knowledgeable. So make sure to put in your comments, your questions, concerns, anything. We want to hear from you as well. And again, thank you so much to Yexel and Saram for coming. We are so excited to be able to partner with our partners and get these awesome knowledgeable experts onto our live streams. So I'll put a shameless plug in here, right? If you're interested in getting to know me better, or you have ideas, or you're interested in maybe participating in the future, let me know. Reach out on LinkedIn or however you want. And yeah, great. So why don't we just roll into things here? Let's start off with, again, we're going to start off with our data fabric architecture. And I am going to pass it over to Kevin to kick it off.
Thanks, Kate. So in the 25.1 release, which is tomorrow, it goes GA, right? I'm really excited to introduce a set of architecture updates to sync records and our data fabric backend. We've made a big investment over the last couple of quarters to get us here, and so what you'll see in 25.1 is big performance improvements to queries against large record types. We did run a beta program with a number of different customers, which I know we'll share a link to kind of some of the results on our website in this chat. But we saw 5 to 10x faster performance for complex queries against large record types. So, millions of rows, data sets that have millions of rows. We even saw some queries, go 40 times faster. So, think multiple seconds down to, a small amount of milliseconds. This is, really exciting. It's going to have the biggest impact in places where you're, again, have a large amount of rows. You're doing a lot of record relationships and filtering, or you're doing real-time custom record fields and doing like a lot of, on-the-fly calculations. That's where you'll see some of the biggest speed ups. So we're really excited for you to get your hands on that. With that improvement, there's a couple of things that go alongside that. So that includes, we've also improved write throughput of syncs. So we've seen up to 5 times faster write processing of the actual syncing of smart service syncs, and a reduction in the data, the disk space that's used for sync records. We've seen, awesome. Yeah. And that's not even it, but yeah, those are a lot of things. So it's a big change that's coming in this upcoming release. And because we made these improvements, we're able to actually scale up the record type row limit. So we're going from 4 million rows per record type to 10 million rows, which I know, of course, is, yes, a long time request. And we're well positioned to keep increasing that. So I would expect multiple increases in 2025. So this is just the start. Can't say too much more about that, but get ready. Come to me as you're running into different use cases where your data volumes vary. I want to hear about them, and yeah, look forward to even some more of the releases. The other thing that this architecture enables is we've introduced a new extra long text field type. So with sync records previously, you could only sync up to 4,000 characters for a text field. Now this new extra long type lets you sync 64K characters,
which is significant.
It's a big jump, yeah. And so we've heard that that's a lot for the kind of unstructured data use cases, large comments, when you're using the rich text component and you're writing a lot of rich text and storing that away. This is going to be a huge change into your app design patterns for this specific use case.
Yeah, and like Kevin said, we love hearing from all of you for, again, your use cases. And I know that in the different channels that I'm plugged into, we definitely hear about limits, like row limits, and how much data you're connecting to and whatnot. So yeah, I'm excited for these improvements, and to hear you say that we're gonna keep expanding and keep speeding up. I laugh because in the webinar we have that icon of speed up, which I know other people enjoy as well. But yeah, so Ron, what about you? Do you have any comments or anything from that?
That's absolutely right. Especially that syncing of 10 million rows, right? That's huge, right? From my experience, working with enterprise clients, right? One of the biggest challenge is the data silos, right? Yeah. And every business unit has data in different disparate systems. Data fabric came here for rescue, but when you go with the large data sets, right? It's like trying to squeeze an elephant into a suitcase. Right.
Not exactly easy, right?
Yeah, we need to be creative, right? We have to think about batch processing, incrementally. We have to do some things, right? But and especially during the dev deployment, right? Dev team has to have a key eye looking into okay, does this thing happened or it crashed at 99%, right? So, but I think now, for 10 millions, I say it's huge. It's going to be a game changer, really, because we could use the records for large data sets, and that means the performance is no longer a bottleneck.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
We're definitely excited about that, and of course, like I mentioned, we're continuing to make improvements. So obviously, share your feedback as you're using it, and share your use cases. For a lot of these, your mileage may vary based on your use case. So we want to hear about your experience, and yeah, looking forward to additional updates over the year.
Yeah, and definitely check out that beta program. I know Kevin said we dropped it in the chat, and I think we just did. So make sure to check that out. But Kevin, you said I'm pretty sure you have a demo. I hope I'm not skipping anything here, but
No, yeah, a little thing that I want to show. Yeah, just to, I know we had the product webinar last week, and we demoed actually some updates to our service back record types, allowing new paging, which is really cool. So I'm not going to rehash that. But one thing I did want to highlight, because it's been a longstanding request from a lot of you, is the ability to write multiple record types in a single write and single transaction.
yes.
Um,
It is
so
very
I'll,
exciting.
it's been a longstanding request, and it's something that if you have been using Appian for a long time, you know that we've had the write to multiple data store entity node, which lets you kind of write unrelated data objects together in a single transaction. So this is effectively getting us to parity with that write to multiple DSC node. So right now I'm looking at the record type designer on my screen. And one way that I want to talk about this is that although this is, with related records, you can already write a record and its related records together. This is mostly for those cases where it's two distinct things that you want to write in a single transaction or roll back if it fails. But there are some neat little tricks I wanted to talk about. So today we don't allow writes from a parent record to a many-to-one record type. So this is actually a little sneaky way that you can make an update both to that parent and a many-to-one reference, or if it's like, you're dealing with like a many-to-many relationship. So in this case, like let's say I had inbound communication as my record type, and then I have communication type as a many-to-one related record. If I go into a process model and I use the latest version of the write record smart service, I can click in here and go to the setup tab. And we've I don't know if you've seen this is a custom setup tab specifically for write records. And what it does is it lets you pick from the different process variables that are of a record data type. And now you can select multiple of them. Same simple, but it's the fun stuff behind the scenes. So here I can go and I can add both the inbound communication record and its communication type. The thing to note is, at that point, the record events feature is not available, but you can pick which record type you want to write to events to. So I can just get rid of communication type here, and then I can still set some stuff up. So that's simple. It's not a huge change to configuration. We tried to make it as easy as possible. If you're familiar with write to multiple data store entity node, it was a lot of like ABANG, entity identifiers, and this fun stuff. This is a lot more simple than that, we hope. And can't wait to hear about your experience using it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know I personally am super excited about this. When I saw it, in the log before, I was like, oh my gosh, yes! Because it was simple things here. And you're right, like the setup tab was brand new a couple releases ago for, just write records. And it simplified things so much. And I think it's, a really good experience for developers, especially our newer developers. But, opposite perspective, Saram, you've been in Appian for a long time. So what are your thoughts?
To be really honest, I'd say this is the ultimate time saver,
Yes.
because it helps us less looping, right? Need not have, or maybe normal developers will do, right? They say, okay, let me create another process just for the small update. We could reduce all these kind of additional loops over the time, right? Maybe just to have a question, or maybe it could be also feedback, right? Just want to understand more. Does this write to multiple records also support transaction rollback as well? In case if one record doesn't write, it's not going to write all the other transactions too.
Yes. And so this specific feature, if any of the data updates don't go through, the whole thing goes back. Right.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and for anyone out there, again, plug here. If you have any questions or comments on any of the features we talk about, please put them in there, and our experts are more than happy to respond to them. I'll ask you a question too, Kevin, because in the demo and in what you just showed, right? You click 2 of them, but is there like a limit to how many records? Is there like best practice guidance on how many records you can update at one time?
No, you can go wild. Now, I mean, I would like my first question to someone legit asking that would be like, well, do you really have that many
Right.
entities that are not related? Because
Right.
otherwise, like, really, I would expect for a majority of your use cases, you're doing the right through like the record and its relationships,
Yeah.
however many levels deep that is. So this is like for specific use cases, it helps, and for efficiency with your process nodes. But I would think that a lot of your use cases is still you're using kind of like the normal related record rights.
Right. Cool.
But if you have a use case where you're doing a ton of them, I want to hear about it, because now I'm intrigued. Yeah, right. Like,
Talk to us. Yes, please. Great. Okay. Well, that pretty much wraps up the data fabric section, unless either of you really wants to talk anything more. Again, we're so excited to expand things, speed things up, and run our beta program. So again, check out the stuff we put into the chat, and yeah, put your questions into the chat too if you have them. But I'm going to roll into the AI section next. And so the first thing I want to talk about is just something to talk about. So, AI has been such a big hot topic. And in Appian, we strongly believe that AI is best implemented in a process, right? And, we could go into a separate presentation on like why, Appian's best with AI in process. But one thing I want to talk about is, the new audit log that we just got, right? Or maybe it's not like the most brand new thing, but audit logs, we're used to, but specifically in the case of AI, and I'll read from, the notes just so that we have like a nice broad statement here, and then I'll let you guys, take off with it. But, the new audit logs help us monitor and audit AI usage within our Appian environments, ensuring adherence to internal policies, industry standards, and regulatory requirements. All sounds great. So in your experience, I'll let either of you chime in here. What are your thoughts on that?
No, audit log is one of the pretty common one, right? Normal use case. Everyone has to definitely, every developer here would not definitely understand the importance of it, right? I'll just give a scenario of my experience. I was working with a financial service client, okay, where we were using AI models to flag the high risk transactions. Okay, the problem was like the compliance team, it always comes back and questions us like, so why a transaction was marked as a
Mhm.
high risk transactions, right? And it's not pretty easy for us. We know like it's being AI skill, it's been done that, but we have to provide them an update. We have to build a custom logging where we have to build, okay, what's the input, what is the output, how to get the confidence score all together. It is not so difficult, but still additional overload for a dev team, right? But I
Right.
think now with that AI audit logs, we could reduce those additional overload. Could be done. Appin does all things in the back end, right? Simply just call the AI, maybe enable the audit logs, and then it's done.
Yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah.
pretty easy. I feel like this is really going to be a huge, especially for the regulated industries where
Yes.
we
It
are
feels
using.
huge, right? Like it feels really significant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, anything from you, your side?
yeah, I think you mentioned earlier, Kate, right? Like, it's really part of our promise, right? Like, that we're going to take care of the nitty gritty that you don't want to, right? Like, we're going to make sure that the AI that you use, whatever model you use and what features you use, is secure. It's up to all of the compliance and security standards that we promise in like Appian Cloud. And it's auditable, right? Like, and so this log is a big step in that, like, you're knowing what is actually who's using these features and what's happening. You're actually seeing like what the input to the models are in these cases with this log, right? So it really gives you that traceability and just the confidence that like you don't have AI features just running amok with data from who knows where, right? Like,
Yes.
so it's putting the structure that we believe is super necessary when dealing with AI and enterprise use cases.
Definitely. AI and process. Yes. So let's talk about some
maybe,
specific.
maybe
Oh,
just yeah,
go ahead.
just my feedback or maybe something which we could think about, right? uh, do we have any kind of visualization report can be built based on AI factor. Maybe like how we had for IDP earlier, right? Maybe I'm talking about long back. IDP, we had a kind of a report. Okay, what is the what is the accuracy percentage, something, right? Do we also have something added to this?
As part of this audit log feature, no. But you make a great point, right? That we have a lot more AI functionality than just document processing nowadays. Although that remains the most popular use case we're seeing out in the field. I think getting a report of how that is working is an interesting thing that we can bring back to the AI product team. But I don't know of anything near term about what you're describing.
Okay, yeah.
Well, we love the ideas. And yeah, if you out there have any ideas, again, put them in the chat. Talk to us. But you just mentioned the next thing I really wanted to highlight here. It was, we're talking about documents and processing. And so we have some specific skills, in particular classification and extraction. And we are just so excited about the improvements that we've seen over the past, let's say, year, right? In this most recent release, we are proud to say that, documents are processing up to 75 times more per hour. And again, I think that sounds really significant here. And I've seen different use cases here and there, but yeah, I'm curious, Sriram, for your background there, or Kevin, your excitement, thoughts. Again, I'll let either of you go.
Yeah, maybe I'll go with that. See, it's like not like 1x, 2x, right? It's 75x.
Yeah.
That's like, going like from a bicycle suddenly going to a rocket ship.
Right.
It's pretty good. Just on lighter side, okay. I used to have conversations with my product owners offline, just offline conversations, right? And he always says like, when you're having any kind of processing documents, that used to be a perfect, excuse for his team to go for a coffee break. And especially when you have this kind of bulk extraction job running behind the
Right.
scenes, right? It's not a coffee break; it's going to convert it to a lunch break for them, right? And we acknowledge it was a little bit slower initially, but maybe on different scenario, right? If you look at, I was working in a kind of a claims processing application where I have to redesign the entire, structure design itself. Initially, the design was proposed to have where the user will go upload a form, upload the documents, and then the backend app in AI will extract the data and pre-fill the key information to the rest of the form. Right, that was initial design, but later in the real time, actually it was it was taking a little bit more time to do all the extractions happening. Right, so we redesigned that, making it kind of an asynchronous call, right? And we use the extraction specifically for the claims adjudication purpose behind the scenes, right? But I think now with 75x, then that's really huge. It's going to happen within fraction of seconds probably, right? So I think we could come back to initial design, that the actual scope of having the document extracted and pre-filling some data points, that helps in the business. The reason I'm saying this is, no, it is not just an optimization, right? It
Right.
actually fundamentally changes the way how the business handles the high volume data, right? So great,
Definitely.
I'm excited to use this.
Yeah. Kevin, any connection to like data fabric or any other things you want to point out here with these document processing skills?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one is that we've seen that to get real life value out of AI features, that like documents are great use cases, and a number of our customers are doing that. And so we're excited to continue investing there because that's where you're seeing real, it's not just hype there, right? Which is exciting. And like the performance improvements, or the architecture improvements here, are a result of feedback and working with some of the customers using the current features. So thank you as always, like, for your partnership there. And then just to kind of reemphasize that we're spending a lot of 2025 working on like supporting larger and larger use cases, whether it's with your data fabric, whether it's with your document processing or other AI features, or you saw recently we released the auto scale process engine and that capability. We're doubling down on supporting these really complex, high throughput use cases, and that's going to continue throughout 2025.
Yeah, something. There's that one electronic band I don't know if I should call them electronic, but harder, better, faster, stronger. Anyway, yeah, great. I
Can we
completely
get like I
the
don't even
helmets.
know
Yeah.
the VR feature? Yeah, just get me. Yeah.
Maybe at Appian World, right? Great. Cool. Yeah. So though we are document extraction and classification, all those document processing skills again are making these great improvements. But I did want to physically show some of the two other little chatbots, specifically copilots, that were featured in the webinar last week. And so, yeah, if we just share my screen, perfect. I'm going to actually show, the dev perspective here, right? And we can talk more about maybe some of the implications about it together. But I'm just going to show something simple. So this data fabric chatbot is something that's available now, and you can see it on this left-hand side of the screen that, it's again our usual experience of dragging and dropping in, and then configuring this is actually super easy. Again, the experience over here on the right side looks very familiar. And if I just click into, or I'll just go into expression mode here, you can see, setting up the questions, fairly straightforward and easy. And then again, I can go and look at my record types, which is just a list of all the record types that, we want this feature to use. So very easy setup, and I will just click on one of these just like the demo last week, and we can see that it's going to generate information based off of, again, looking into those record types, and it gives us the information we want. And we can also click on, see details to potentially see how they got the answer. So that's my quick little demo blurb. But again, I think it's fast, easy, and valuable. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, we're really excited. We released a similar capability in Process HQ on the data catalog page a little while ago, and almost immediately we had a lot of requests for like, I want to embed this in my application. So here's this easy way, really simple kind of full stack component that lets you do that. And you were asking about limits earlier. You can pick up to 250 record types on this. Oh, I'm sorry, I froze. Oh no, hello.
You're back. I hear you.
Oh, right. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. I was saying 250 record types can be selected here. Now, of course, when you're embedding it in your app, you can probably scope it a little bit down. But it is, we're really excited about being able to kind of embed it in your actual experiences. And the other really cool thing is that it will, apply any security that's set up: record type object security, record level security, record field security, all of those things. You don't have to do anything. It just, the chatbot will only be able to access whatever that user has access to when it's asking questions.
Definitely.
Wow, that's right. You nailed the point, Kevin. Right. I think finally we are talking to a chat, right? We're talking to a data altogether, right? Many times a client would always ask a question like, "Can I just ask a system, for the info instead of going through the screens?" Right? So imagine, like, I'll give a scenario. Maybe for one of my, imagine like it's a client, aircraft ground handling applications. Maybe a kind of a ground crew going back and asking a question like, what is the status of the flight 209's refueling, right? Just he's throwing a question, he wants to get the answer. If you look at the current scenario, right, the person has to go log in into a summary pay record dashboard, filter out like the flight 209, and then open the record summary page, go back to refueling stage, find out and get the status of it, right? It's a lot of clicks over there. But I think now where there's document chat, right, a bank data fabric chat field, it is going to be pretty simple. Just ask a question in the native language which business can understand, can talk about, and Appian is going to give you a response, right, immediately, without the hassle of going through multiple pages. And I know,
That's
like, many clients have keep on asking this question to me, like, can we just get the answer? Can we just use it, right? Normally, right now they are dependent upon maybe a technical team who are sitting behind the scenes, go through, in kind of production support, for example. They have to go back in the backend records database, filter it out, and give an answer. I think this would be really helpful for both the business, the front end. Ask a question in native language, get the results. And I believe, if not wrong, it's going to get data from all the related records as well, correct? Not just one record, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Cool. I'm going to pause us for a second because we do have some questions in the chat. One of them was semi-addressed by our very own James Lee, but I did want to just call it out. So the first one is from Kumar. He says, can we do something for dates, such as reading different formats of dates based on region from AI skills? And you two can feel free to chime in on this, but I'll just chime in for my personal expertise. I would believe so, and as James Lee did recommend in the chat as well, it may be worth exploring the generative AI extraction and whatnot, because we should be able to give instructions that are specific enough to do exactly what you're speaking about. But I haven't tried it out myself, so I can't say definitively, yes, we've done that before. Cool. Let's also hop into the next question from Varen. It says, can we get aggregated data from multiple records that has relationships in record chat? Now, Kevin, you're not maybe like the record chat like person who built it, but you do have data fabric background. Do you think that is something we could do?
Yeah, so the chat, you define, for the chat component, you define which record types it has scoped, like in scope to talk to. And that also includes then like which relationships for a given record type it can leverage, right? So as long as you define those things, when you're talking with the chatbot, it's going to, based on your input, decide which queries, reason about which queries it actually needs to do to get to the answer. And so as long as the data, you specified the right data sets available, then like, yes, that stuff would be available.
Great. Okay, no more questions right now. So I'm going to flip over to the second screen here that I have. That again feels
Maybe
similar.
just one thought, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe since Appian is more focused on AI and data fabric, right? I'm just trying to think about, maybe it could be wide use case. Ignore if it's wrong, okay? But I'm trying to tie between data fabric and AI skills together, right? For example, have AI skill on top of data fabric. I'll give a scenario, right? For a claims processing, if I want to have a duplicate claims being created, right? Automatically, if data fabric can come in and AI skill pitch and say like, hey, this seems like a duplicate. We already have an entry here, and it can reject it all the way, right? Is that the way direction are we focusing from Appian side, or it's something you have in your pipeline?
What I would say is that, like the rest of the enterprise software space, we're figuring out how AI can handle more complex use cases given a set of tools, whether that's documents, data fabric. And I don't want to spoil much, but if you're at Appian World, you might hear a little bit about something related to that. But yes, I mean, of course, we've been an automation platform for many, many years. And AI is another form of automation. We want to support use cases and help your processes be more efficient. And this is what you're describing is a natural fit for something like that, assuming that the technology is where it needs to be, right?
Wow, that's going to be a leap, to be really honest, right? Because right now, a lot of claims are being created. We use portals, we use forms to submit, and always we had to do a kind of a duplicate check right in front, first step,
Right.
right? I think that's been already been done. Once again, it reduces the work of developers.
We
Yeah.
love that. That's the whole. Well, that's why we're here, right? Cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
I'll actually, sorry, if we have time, can I say one more thing about the data
go
fabric?
ahead. I'm just gonna click in here.
We often hear, especially I know that you're often dealing on projects that have existing applications. They may not even be using sync records. This chat component is a great entryway to starting to leverage some of the sync records features, right? Like creating a sync record type is really fast. You click to the data source, right? And now you have that. So what I would encourage folks that, like, if you have an existing application, what you could do is create synced record type object versions of the data that is already there. And then you just throw the chat bot somewhere on one of your UIs. That's not a huge refactor effort at all. And all of a sudden you're starting to get really quick benefits from these new things. We have stuff in our docs about how to kind of do that sort of step-by-step, leveraging some of the new functionality in existing apps. But this is a great example of why you might want to do that.
True. That's right, Kevin. Even from from Excel side, right, we are also encouraging our clients, to start using the records. I think they have built with CDT's existing structure. It's good, yes, but we are encouraging them now to refactor a little bit, make it more record centric, because we could use all these enhanced features like chatbot, right? It's going to be quite helpful for them. Yeah, that's good.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, I am gonna move on this time. We have similar functionality, but you can still keep the conversation going. I just want to show this one. Again, I'm showing how easy it is to use, right? So in the previous one, we showed questions to ask and the record types it connects to. For this one, we have a documents chatbot, which again, as Kevin hinted, come to Appian World so you can hear more about document-based stuff. But we have this documents chatbot, and if I click into the documents, configuration, it's as simple as just pointing it to, the documents that you want it to reference.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one too, because I feel like so much of a business's data and information or knowledge lives in the contents of documents. So being able to just expose this anywhere on any app, and dynamically be like, oh yeah, point to these 4 documents because that's what's related to this record or whatever, is just going to be such a simplification on getting this type of use case done. And then I think opening up a lot of cool user flows in the app.
Yeah, maybe I have a question. So does this chat, what we're talking about, both data fabric chat and the document chat, does these support threaded conversations, right, with this historical context, or how does it exactly, the behind the scenes it work?
Today it does not handle threaded conversations or like the history after you leave the UI, right? So I don't know, if I use Claude for some stuff, right, and I have my history of every combo I have, and I can go back to it. That is not supported in this increment. But if you have use cases for that in some of your applications, we'd love to hear about it.
Sure. Maybe the use case which we have currently is in the documents or maybe in the chat field. Just to have threaded conversation at that stage, and not while refreshing the page or coming back to the same one, not historical context, but maybe at least threaded conversations would definitely help the users to drive them to get the results, right? Maybe, for example, if you look at the legal clients, right, they may have a contract with hundreds and 150 pages. It's difficult for them to go through all the pages, and maybe they may have some kind of questions. Okay, this question one, from that they drive the second answer, from that they go for third question, right? And it will be helpful for those teams where they have a lot of page in their document, right? They can just ask the question, get the answer. From that, goes ask second question.
Yeah, well, I mean, per user, as you are talking with the chatbot, you can ask multiple questions. It's just that it's not like a saved history of you go back a week from now or something and see that.
Yeah, perfect.
We do have the event history list component, right, that has collaboration built in, and that has commenting and then threads for replies. But that is that's humans and
yeah,
right. It's not with the AI, at least not today. And that's not a spoiler necessarily, but if that's something that we'd love to hear, if that's actually something that makes sense for your apps.
Definitely. Awesome. So yeah, we've seen lots of updates to our AI functionality. I mean, I remember when, our basic 3 AI skills came out, over a year ago at this point, and just the crazy progress that's been made in the industry so far. But yeah, how we've kind of again taken this concept of AI and made it again more secure and easy to use and accessible for you, our devs. Another thing that I'm excited for, I'm gonna again transition here, is about CRUD updates. Now, that's such a funny acronym to me. I just about laugh every time I hear it because it just, it's a cruddy acronym. But if you're not familiar, right, we're talking about creating and updating, maybe deleting, these simple type of applications that do that kind of stuff. But in the past couple of years, we have created functionality like Saram was talking about in the beginning, where we can quickly and easily make these simple applications and their associated views and forms. And so what I'm showing here on my screen now is an example of a summary view for a claim. And this I haven't touched. I just generated it. Okay? And so there are, some key things here. In the past, we definitely had a details section, and then in the recent past, we had an events history section. But now you see that automatically you're going to get, different sections based off of, your how you configure your data. And then you'll also have buttons here at the top for your actions, and one of the more exciting things I think for some people is this milestone layout at the top. Any comments on that before I show, like, the different configurations of milestone, guys?
No, this takes me, reminds me back to my, initial training days where I was training, some of my new employees, who are new to Appian. I remember, like, I was giving them a task. I just gave them okay, by end of the next day, you have to complete a form with, having create, update all together. You have to build a form, you have to write to records. It has to deleting, should be working perfectly and all. But to my surprise, they just came back in like 15 minutes, right? I
Right,
was surprised, like, how come? I thought like it used to take a day for me, but how come they are, coming in 15 days? Because I'm kind of old schooled, where I go to expressions and I was doing it.
right,
But then later I realized, Appian has become smarter, right? Now, just from click of go to records, have these, updates configure all together, right? One shot, you'll be able to complete all things together. Even I remember in Excel, right? We used to have a kind of hackathon,
right,
and it's over the month of December, the free time, normally 3 weeks of time, we used to have this hackathon. And if you look at, you asked me like 5 years back, building an application end to end, maybe as app been commented, like, it's like 8 weeks challenge. By 8 weeks you'll be able to complete an application. But now I would say like challenge like maybe 3 weeks, because we did in the hackathon in 3 weeks we were able to complete an application end to end, demonstrating all these comes because of these latest updates what we already have, crude
right,
updates. Just configure once and it's done. No need to go back and ensure like, okay, it is working or is it not working, because
right.
everything is taken care, right?
And of course, this is a great, accelerant where maybe you don't want the actions or certain details on your view, but it's easy enough to reconfigure it or delete a section or, drag things around. So, yeah, Kevin, you look like you want to say
Yeah,
something.
no, Saram mentioned smarter, and I'm glad that he said that word, because not only is this like the new, record views and record action, the UIs look better at like just from generation. They are actually smarter, right? Like if you look at the priority field at the beginning of the details, right? We look and see, okay, that's a particular type of relationship. Let's use a tag field
Yeah,
because there's only a few options, and so it's like a status indicator. We look at like the lists of items, how many there are. We look at how long the text is and decide, should it be a paragraph field or a rich text field, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Let
and
me go
so,
here. You can see that a little better too. I'm looking for John Doe's. I think it's this one. But yeah, you can see that in the actual form for updating too. Keep going, Kevin. You're doing great.
no, exactly, yeah. So not just the read-only view, but in the different forms that we generate, we also are taking all of that metadata about the data model into account and saying, okay, yeah, this is a list of items, but it's less than whatever many. Let's do this radio button cards, or let's do a drop down or a picker. So we've definitely added a lot more smarts so that this default thing not only looks nice, but also makes sense from a UX perspective for the end user that actually is going to fill it out.
Yeah, and easier
Exactly.
too.
I think we can be honest here, right? So initially, Appian's UI is, has come a long way. I could see that. Everything earlier. Remember, we used to say everything looks good, but functionally, everything works best. But when it comes to UI, maybe and especially we used to have kind of debate with the UX designers. But now I think with this, kind of smoother edges, and then you
Yeah.
have this, milestone layouts. What are you talking about, right? And round edges with branding all together. Now it looks like we are exactly in 2025.
Yes. No, I agree with that. And I think one thing that definitely helps with that is, again, yeah, like the updates to the UX, but specifically being able to brand things even more, right? So in this, what we're looking at right now, we see that the top has like this nice blue bar. And if I click back to the normal site, we again have that blue bar, the same, the nice color scheme. And also, just something to point out here, the buttons, right? If I go back to the actual interface, you'll notice that the buttons are not rounded. And so, it's great to have so many options to make something look very specific to, a customer's brand, which is great.
And to add to the point, Kate, right, if you go back, right, the screen, I could see that a summary link has been removed, if I'm not wrong,
Yes, yeah,
right?
thank you for remembering. Kevin, yes.
You stole my thunder. Actually, I thought maybe we would quiz the viewers whether or not they would notice,
different.
but it's too late. Yeah.
No, but to what they're speaking about, if you again watch the webinar, then you may have already been cognizant of this, but notice that there's only one view here for this specific claim. And so instead of having that extra like bar that said summary and then just the one view, we removed that. So again, smarter.
Perfect, yeah.
I do want to show the milestone layout really quick, and I'll let you guys jump in after, again, this. But if we look, this is one of the things that people have been requesting for a long time. And so we have a bunch of different styles here, which we're relatively familiar with. It's really easy to switch from one to the other. And again, just really easy, in my opinion, to configure. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think definitely every dev will be celebrating these. They did not go as I mentioned. They did not go back behind UX designers and saying like this is not possible. This is not possible, right? Now I think like different options we do have the dotted option, the chevron option, which probably 95% of the clients will be using these kind of options because it's like more clean, structured for them, right? That's great.
And it'll look good with any branding configurations you'll have,
Yes.
right? There's that nice pop.
Yes. No extra effort required. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else on like the new CRUD updates or anything that we touched on the last couple minutes, guys? Any questions out there, guys? Oh, there's a question.
Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead with this game.
Does Appian use the record type field descriptions to decide how to format views and forms? I can take that. Yes, right? And so if we go back to that form and we go to the update claim, right, we see that this one was a description field, right, which was, again, automatically generated. So if you choose, short text versus long text versus what have you, it is smart, again, and we'll do that for you.
Maybe just on touch basing the same question, whatever Kyle has mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Or a feedback, I would say. If there's something like snap to grid, something kind of a feedback available for layouts. Imagine like in this form we have like 3 different inputs, right? Currently manually now the user developer team has to go back and identify, put some margins, put some padding on top of it to make it aligned. But if you have some kind of snap to grid, which is normally available in the Photoshops, right, and the Figma UX design products, right, you just have this build this UI fields required and just click on like snap to grid, some kind of function, and it realigns automatically. Like either it want to be central aligned with padding altogether, right? Maybe something which you could think about, which could definitely help the dev team, or maybe with the front end UI to be much more better.
Yeah, with great flexibility comes great responsibility, right? And we've always had more requests for having more flexible options in the UI design, but with that comes more choices. And so what you're describing makes total sense, right? Because there's now different options. Yeah. There, how can we help you get it more right, more quickly? I think, right? And what I'll say is that we hear you, and that's something we're actively thinking about. We want these auto-generated interfaces is one thing of like, here's our opinion on the best practice and kind of the art of like, this is what a good form looks like. But not everything that you build is just going to be an auto-generated interface, right? So how can we make the rest of your UI design experiences just, by default, you're getting the best looking thing you could. Yeah. So yeah, makes sense, and we hear you.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's funny because it sparked like from the last release, the card group layout, that you gave similar vibes to that, right? Where, you can have things all be similarly sized and easy. It's not necessarily snap to grid, but it is, flexible and dynamic. So we definitely hear you when we're working on things like that. Yeah.
Exactly, similar to like card choice layout where we can configure all the cards, and it realigns automatically. So if you extend that to all the fields also, right, it is
Right.
even more easier for the developers.
I like it.
Just not my feedback.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. All right. The next thing I'm going to push us off to now, since we're getting close to the top to the hour, and so I want to show at least two more things here. Uh, this is my personal call out. I know Explore View is not new, and I know people are very opinionated about it, and I was very opinionated about it recently until I actually gave it a chance. Okay, so my shameless plug here is try Explore View out if you haven't, because it's actually really, really intuitive. And so, I used to be like go straight to build view, especially if you know what you're looking for, or maybe, you go up to this, search objects, search bar, because, you can get any object across any application that, you have permissions to. But the beautiful thing I like about this Explore view is actually this view related objects drop down here, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't know that I could access so many different related objects to my record types. And then just something nice. I'm showing my love here. I love these icons, right? This is a database data source, and if I scroll over a couple times, you can see the web service data source. So again, we're trying to make things intuitive and good looking for you, and easier for you to approach the product with. But I don't know. I've recently found appreciation, so I wanted to put my short little plug in here. I don't know, Kevin, if you have any thoughts on that, but yeah.
I'm also an object view kind of guy.
Yeah.
I also remember the slash designer tab. So we don't need to test our cred, but so even that objects view was great when everything could be in one grid. But
Right.
I'm glad you called out the sort of the object dependencies, because to me, especially for like record type objects and site objects that have a lot of configurations within them, this is the fastest way to get to one of those precedent objects.
Yeah.
Like much faster than going to the objects view, doing either dependency check, and go traversing down, or actually opening the object. So if you know what you're looking for, would be quick.
Yeah.
And I agree that it's a little bit of a lesser known feature of the page.
True. I second, what Kevin mentioned, right? I'm also a kind of object guy who goes, and it's not only me. Like most of the developers here, right? They would have this kind of scenario. Where the hell we are using this kind of rules? There's a dependence about it, right? Always they go to objects, find it out, drill down, dependent, right? But I think now the Explorer view, it's the way how you showed, like it looks more interesting, and then you could start using this, to identify the dependencies.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. All right. From here, I'm going to go to my order submission record type to talk about, maybe the last topic here, security, right? We know security is super important. I'm sure we'll have lots of stories and comments on this bit. And again, if you have questions out there, everyone, please, or comments, yeah, put them in the chat. But we know that when we come to our record type, when we first make our record types, we have, just the general security that we need to configure. And I do like how here I have my data steward set up. That is an indication that we are in fact using Process HQ. Shameless plug here for coming back next month to hear more about how Process HQ can impact your lives as developers. But that's an aside. Let's go back and talk about like the new, interesting, and I think really impactful change. And that's in this security pane on the left-hand side here. We have, records level security that we're used to. We have drag and drop that was relatively new recently, but great. We can duplicate rules. We can do a bunch of stuff. But the new thing is field level security, which kudos to the people who built out this interface, because I think it's very intuitive. If you have lots of fields you can search, and all of the fields are listed here, and then making a change for the field level security is as easy as clicking on the button. And then again, this is the same experience we had with record level security. So yeah, I really enjoy it. And yeah, I want to hear, Kevin and Saram, your thoughts of impact and maybe stories you may have.
Maybe normally all dev lead, especially here, right, would have this kind of an awful moment with the client, right? They would have built a beautiful interface, beautiful records. They configure all the security in place. They deploy, and then they get a bug saying like, an intern was able to see the CEO's salary details, right?
No.
Like, it's so awful, right? So, and when we do the root cause analysis, we found out like how we missed to, have a security, hide this particular field on this interface. I think now with this feature, we should be able to tackle it, on the record level itself. So which field visible for which users, that we could avoid those kind of, oops, it's not for you, not for your. We can avoid those moments now.
Definitely. Yeah. Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely. It strengthens our data security story and makes those types of considerations easier for teams because just like the row level or record level security, now you have also this field or column level, and it's always applied, right? So whether it's from a UI or from a process, or your AI chatbot is using it, or there's a web API for an external system, it's always going to go through this security logic. So you can set it once, and you don't have to worry about a new developer that you onboarded that forgot to add that logic to this new interface they're creating or whatever it is, right?
Right.
Like, so we're excited to get here. It's been something that we've wanted to get to ever since we shipped record level security, and
Right.
we're glad to finally get it out there.
No, definitely, and I'm glad you mentioned that because, a lot of the time, our developers may feel disconnected from maybe the product team and, like, the enhancements that are being made, but, we really do care about the experience of our experienced developers as well as the newer developers, right? We want to save everybody time, right? But we really do care about your experience, and please, if you have any suggestions or, concerns, voice them, through the official channels, through, whatever channel you can. Talk to me, and yeah, we are listening, and we are trying our best to make it the best experience for you all. Cool. All right, we're just at about time. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We may address them after the fact because I may not see it in the next minute or so. But I do want to, let's just go back to the main screen here. Thank you all so much for coming to our release highlights, and a very special thank you to Kevin Saram. I am so grateful for all the stories and the insight you've provided. And again, a special shout out to Yesel this time for being our partner and our partner in general, but also partnering in this live stream. Saram, you're so full of expertise, and I am so grateful to have had you on.
Yeah, thanks. It's same here. Thanks to be really honest. It's really great to be a part of Appian, and also to be part of working with Excel. So Excel, yeah, it's we are based out of a UK based company, right? Headquartered in UK, but we have a presence across the world.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll just wrap up with some announcements, okay? So again, if you have ideas for future live streams, give them to us. We want to hear them. The next live stream will be March 20th, so almost a month away, and it is going to be focused on the dev side experience of Process HQ. So, it's been about a year, from the last Appian World that things were announced, and really, we just want to give you an update, realign, and show you like what to get excited about. Also, real thing to get excited about, DevCon, right? Come to Appian World this year, again, late April. DevCon is going to be an exciting experience where we have curated a bunch of content for our devs. You could see Kevin talk, okay? Come see me. But, it's really exciting. Check out the webinar for more details. And yeah, I hope to see you there. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one.